I'm just going to work my magic here real quick. Here's the end result. Thanks so much for watching today, guys. See you next time. Haha, just kidding. Let's start with this crazy, gorgeous greenery that I foraged from my neighborhood. God bless these beautiful flowering trees that are actually really fragrant. And the name of this, I kind of actually don't remember what the name of this is. I'm gonna have to Google ID it, but the name of it will be in the link in the description box below for you, as well as all of the tools that I used to design this arrangement. Everything is found there in my Amazon store, quick and easy shipment directly to you. So I'm starting with this mystery greenery and going in and creating the structure first, and then we have one of my favorites of the early spring flowers. This is acacia, aka wattle, aka mimosa. There are about 1,000 something, whatever species. There's a lot. And I think at market we probably get maybe 5 or 6 different varieties. If you've never experienced wattle or acacia, I actually prefer to call it acacia or mimosa. If you've never experienced it, it is so delicate, so fluffy, and it has a very powdery, soft fragrance. It's one of my absolute favorites. You can see it growing all around Los Angeles, actually. I'm not sure the particular variety or varieties that grow in the Los Angeles area, but it is a Australia native flowering plant. So I don't believe it's an invasive, but it's definitely not a local or native to California plant. But for some reason, not for some reason, but for obvious reasons, a lot of Australian type of vegetation grow well in Southern California's Mediterranean type climate here. So just a little info on the side for you there, but obsessed with this flower. And now one of my favorites, always gotta have a carnation. You know it's my secret signature. Obsessed forever with carnations. And this is like a nice peachy, soft peach color. And love dotting this around the entire arrangement. If you can't tell by now, this is a double-sided arrangement. So it's got a front and a back, and I really like designing this style arrangement for wild style arrangements because I think it gives the recipient an opportunity to place it somewhere where they can get both sides of the arrangement. Usually a dining table is a great place for this type and this height arrangement. Now we have like pure acidic yellow ranunculus, and I'm using them as my microphone to God. What's that quote? Someone said, flowers are the microphone to God. And I loved that so much because, yeah, like I truly feel flowers are like sentient beings and they're magical. And I feel like when I'm arranging with them, I feel like they are listening to what I'm thinking, and then that energy gets passed on to the recipient. So just a little, spiritual vibe that I like to put into my arrangements. And these ranunculus, I know I said this in the last video. If you've been watching for a while now, you might have watched the video where I talked about ranunculus. Video linked up in the right here too. This was the secret celebrity floral arrangement, and I talked a little bit about how when you're designing larger style arrangements. Oh, wait a second, hold on. This is a challenge when designing with ranunculus or any flower that has a stem that's a little bit wily. This is the fun part of floral design, and you really have to take into account how you put a stem into an arrangement based on the shape and how it's growing. So that's why you'll see me a lot in these tutorials holding stems up to the arrangement, because essentially in floral design, it's a very mathematical thing. Especially when I first started designing, this was like, you know, this is how we did it. We calculated very geometric shapes, and I still use those principles to this day, even when I'm designing wild style arrangements like this. It's all still math. So you really have to hold the stems up to the arrangement, see what position it looks good in, and then go ahead and place it down in. And of course, I use both hands to do that. Stunning. Oh my God, just the most beautiful. One of my favorite spray roses. This is Spray Rose Bombastic. Love these tiny little stems, super slender, big juicy heads, and you can keep the little guard petals, the calyx on there if you like a more rustic look, or in this particular case, because this is a wild arrangement and there was already a lot of texture going on, I went ahead and took those off. These are the little fine detail things that will make all the difference in your arrangements. So just pay attention to that. And as always, cleaning up every single stem as I go. I'm using my Victorinox florist knife to knock off any of the thorns, any of the leaves, and then of course cut the end of the stem at a 45-degree angle and then place immediately into water. But yeah, Spray Rose Bombastic. I think this is Sally Bombastic. Again, the entire recipe is linked in the description box below for you, absolutely for free. If you're new to floral design and you just want to like try your hand at flowers without really having to think too hard about it, the recipe's down below for you. So I hope that helps. If you like that little tip, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, do all of the things, because I post content pretty frequently. Like, my original goal was to have one video out a week on Fridays, but with my design schedule and all of the other things that I do as a business owner, I have discovered that that's not feasible. That was very ambitious. So in order to support this channel, if you want to see more content, I have a Venmo link below. Feel free to send your appreciation in the form of money. I super appreciate it. I don't have any of these videos up on Patreon, so any money that you can send is actually extremely helpful, because these videos take at least 20 to 30, sometimes 40 hours to edit. And I do all of that work myself. And I would really like to make YouTube a full-time thing for you here. And I really want it to be fun and entertaining. So in order to do that, I need to hire people. Anyways, that's a long-ass spiel to basically say, like, hey, here are some ways that you can support this channel. And whatever you send, I super appreciate, so thank you. Shout out, I'm not gonna say the last name, but shout out to Irene. Thank you so much, Irene, for sending money to my Venmo or to my Chase Zelle. Yeah, it was the Chase Zelle. Thank you so much. It was so exciting to see your contribution, and I am incredibly grateful for that. So thank you so much, Irene. Now we have quite possibly my favorite David Austin Garden Rose. This is Patience. This is one of the most fragrant in their line of garden roses. It's the most gorgeous cream color. I don't know why lately, but I'm just like obsessed. I'm obsessed with cream colors, but I've always been obsessed with David Austin roses, and particularly Patience. But what you'll want to do when you get this style garden rose is clean off any of the damaged petals that have any kind of mushy little petals there, any of the calyx petals, the guard petals that might have some damage on them. And it's okay, like, be liberal with how you clean them up because you want them to look perfect in your arrangement. White flowers tend to bruise pretty easily, so there will always be some cleanup involved with white/cream and really soft colored flowers. And I love this arrangement because it's a analogous color palette. If you don't know what an analogous color palette is, here is the color wheel, and this can also be found in my Amazon linked below. If you want to have an actual color wheel in your space to refer to frequently. So all of these colors sit next to each other on the color wheel. It's a very harmonious palette, and that's why it's very easy to look at because all of the colors sit right next to each other, cozy on that little color scale. So I hope that's a useful tool to you. And finishing off, as always, with one of my favorite flowers. This is the Dara or chocolate Queen Anne's lace. It perfectly matched the deeper tones of the bombastic spray rose and the carnation and just really rounded out this kind of antique but yet explosive acerbic color palette. Totally obsessed. Love this arrangement. This was the first arrangement that I did of the year. So it was like the first week of January. I had a big bereavement order for one of my favorite clients that I've had for many years, and very grateful to them for their support. So here we have the final look of this arrangement. What do you think? I think it's super fun with that foliage. It gives it a little bit of a wily, crazy look. And then all of the softness of the rest of the flowers. This is a very special palette. Something interesting to note is that most of the flower heads in this arrangement, with the exception of the acacia, are all pretty much the same size. And normally I would opt for flowers, shapes, and textures that are varied in size and shape. But for this style arrangement, it works out perfectly. It can be just like this really satisfying, patterned, textural look. So keep that in mind when you're designing. Again, thank you so much for being here. I hope that this video was entertaining. I hope that you learned something new. And you can find all of the tools, materials, everything that I used to design this arrangement in the Amazon store linked below. Your purchases help support this channel, so thank you so very much. And if you're in the Los Angeles area and you want to send flowers, or if you want weekly flowers, I have a new opening available to people who want weekly packages. Visit the website link in bio or description box, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching.